There's no doubt the New York Mets need to upgrade their pitching rotation drastically this offseason if they plan on contending with teams like the Brewers, like the Dodgers. And today we're going to go over a couple of plans as to how the Mets could upgrade this rotation. The folks over at SNY just ran a segment having a couple of guys that are out of the box because, as we know, David Stearns is one of those general managers who thinks outside the box. It can't just be a Tariq Skubal or a Peralta. We need to address this issue, and we're going to go over a couple reasons how next on MetCast. What's going on, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of MetCast. As always, I'm Rain. If you're enjoying this content, all I ask is that you like and subscribe, turn those notifications on, and consider becoming a member as we have some amazing guests booked coming up in the future. I am proud to say this Saturday morning, I will be making a recording that will get released Saturday night with none other than my favorite New York Mets prospect, Jet Williams. Will he be a shortstop, second base, center field, hitting approach, eye at the plate, future player, future potential star of the New York Mets? And I'm super excited to have him on this podcast. And it's thanks to folks like you who subscribe to this channel and come back for our latest New York Mets updates. And with that said, we need to start looking outside the box. Something that I've been stressing so much. It's easy to say Tariq Skubal, Tariq Skubal, Tariq Skubal. Well, there's going to be other teams involved and other teams that have better farm systems than the Mets. Now, as of the latest rankings, you can find the New York Mets pretty much anywhere between 3 and 7 in regard to farm system rankings. You know who's consistently in the top 3? The LA Dodgers. And believe me, doesn't matter who their starting pitchers are right now. I totally expect them to be in on a guy like Skubal if he becomes available, regardless if they win or lose a World Series. It doesn't matter. You saw them win last year and they go out and get a Blake Snell. They're always adding and they make their money back. And a guy like Tariq Skubal will just help them continue to sell out that stadium. So the folks over at SNY just took a little bit of a deep dive, gave 45 seconds to each one of their members to explain a pitcher that the New York Mets could go out and get. And I have to admit, some of them are outside of the box and some of them I actually really like, and maybe 1 or 2 of them are just not realistic, but we're going to give them our reaction next.
The pitch clock. You will each have 45 seconds to make your pitch on what the Mets should do to upgrade their rotation if they cannot trade for Tariq Skubal. Danny, you start us off.
When does the clock start? Like, when does it begin? When I start speaking? Now?
Yeah.
As it started?
Okay, now, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go with someone you might not expect. Brian Wu of the Seattle Mariners. I just saw him.
Brian Wu. Talk about an absolute stud of a pitcher, has control, blew away the Yankees in the playoffs, but I will say this. There is a 0.0001% chance they would ever consider moving that kid. Seattle's based on pitching, and I don't see them trading out of a strength to supplement the lackluster offense that they have.
Him in the American League Championship Series, and let me tell you why. Number one, he's not a free agent until 2030. He has one of the best fastballs in the game. It's as good as Jacob deGrom's, but he gets more swing and miss, and he has more strikeouts.
He's got a crazy batting average
in his third year. He pitched career innings. This guy is a bulldog. Intangibly, what does he bring? He can pitch in New York. He loves his teammates. He was a 6th round guy who's become an ace on his staff. Seattle has way too many arms. They could be willing to give him away. It's a plethora of different guys. It's out of the box. It's something different. What else did I write here? I'm so nervous. Oh, yeah. His fastball has a batting average against 153. 153, his fastball. That's almost unhittable.
I love that idea. I love watching Wu. He dominated the Yankees in Yankee Stadium earlier this year. All right, Britt, you're on the clock.
I love the Wu idea, but I think Sal has a better chance of nailing the team
not
than
realistic.
them trading Brian Wu. Unfortunately, Seattle's trying to win. They're not going anywhere. But I'll tell you about a team that is absolutely going nowhere and is thrilled to death about it, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's go get Paul Skeens.
Paulie
why
boy.
not? They need a legit top of the road.
I will say this. I believe Skeens has 4 years of control left. It probably cost you Noel McLean, Brandon Sproat, Jonah Tung, another player that, listen, They may entertain listening for him. We heard the rumors this past trade deadline that it might be this offseason where they start entertaining trade offers for him. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, the Mets simply don't have what it takes. You're going to have to go right to the top of the list. You look at some of the guys that the Red Sox have, obviously the Dodgers. If you think the Dodgers aren't going to chase after him, who I believe is a California kid, you have another thing coming. I'd be blown away if Paul Skeens were to get moved if it wouldn't be to the Dodgers.
Rotation guy. I looked at the free agent class. Framber Valdez doesn't really change the game. Paul Skeens changes the game immediately. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they can always take prospects. Isn't that what they do? They continually hoard prospects. You get a guy like
they have
Skeens,
the number one
and
prospect
then
in
you
all
sign
baseball.
a Michael King, and you get some lesser free agents, and all of a sudden you're feeling pretty good about that rotation. So I like Scooble, but I think that you might be able to pry Skeens away. The Pittsburgh front office isn't exactly well known for sound decisions, guys. I think that's the play for the Mets, and I even have some time remaining.
That's
How about
crazy.
that?
How do you have time remaining?
I will say, I don't know how realistic Wu is. I don't know how realistic Skeens is, but if you think it's realistic at all, then I'd rather have him than Tarek Skubal, no doubt about it. Harp, your turn to make your pitch.
Hey, listen, I love both those ideas,
Our boy
but I'm
Harper.
not sure which is more unrealistic than the other. I'm going to try and bring a little realism here. Is the clock up yet? Can we go?
There you go.
Let's go. Listen, I think this should, first of all, the Mets should be all in. They got to rebuild this pitching starting rotation.
And I got a little inkling for you guys. Somebody I spoke on the phone today says the Mets are all in, and they're going to be all in on pitching. So we could talk about the Alex Bregmans of the world, adding a second baseman or a center fielder or a guy like Harrison Bader, who'd be a smaller move. But the big moves, I highly doubt are coming this offseason. It's going to be about pitching. And I am hoping it's at the top of the market. You cannot sell me a Framber Valdez, and that's it. I'm not a big fan of Valdez. I know he's effective. A lot of people say that, but the guy's in his mid-30s. He's got a bazillion miles on his arm because of those deep playoff runs. He'd be a guy that scares the hell out of me, number one, for that. And number two, as far as I know, he's just not a good teammate. We all seen the video. If you have not, I'm sure you could just Google it, of him drilling his catcher intentionally this past year for calling a ball that was thrown and then a home run was hit, crossed up his catcher, which was clearly intentful, and drilled him this past year. No, thank you. We had enough issues in the clubhouse, enough me guys, and we got the story earlier this week. Anton Richardson's probably not returning. I think it goes deeper than that. I think he played favorites as a coach, and I think that obviously it was towards Soto, but it might have rubbed a couple guys wrong in the clubhouse. And I think there's a big reason why a lot of these guys, these coaches, are not coming back. And it might not be because of David Stearns. It might go all the way to the top.
They should be all in. It's going to be a lockout in 27. Go for it now. So go get a trade and go get my man Ranger Suarez, who I've been touting as a free agent.
Oh, man. John's on Ranger Suarez. He is not an ace. Give me a break. A guy, he's got a career mid-3 ERA, soft-throwing lefty. He's going to command probably a 6-year, $200+ million contract. No, thank you. If I wanted to do that, I would have went out and got a guy like Max Fried last year. That was the move to be made, but I'm not going to try to make up for that by going after a guy who's a very solid number 2, really strong number 3, and probably a weaker number 2. I'm not paying that. I am done with the mid-tier guys. The Frankie Montas simply did not work out. Sean Manaea's contract looks like an absolute atrocious, abysmal contract, but that's the risk you take when you go after mediocre pitchers who are career average pitchers and expect them to continue to get better. It's a big fat no for me for Ranger Suarez. Maybe you feel different. Let me know down in the comments.
Bring him in, and then I don't think you can get. You're not getting Scooble. I don't think you're getting these guys. Joe Ryan, I wrote a column about him today for the Twins. I think the Twins are going to.
Another guy, Joe Ryan, who's got a high ERA. No, thank you. Same thing with Dylan Cease. Now there's a rumor out there that they might be qualifying, offering him down in San Diego, which is going to hurt his value even more. He's probably, if I'm him, I accept that qualifying offer. I'll come back out at age 30 and I'll hit the free agency market again. Another guy who has an ERA of almost 5. No, thank you. Enough of these reclamation projects. Oh, we'll stick him in the pitching lab. Get me the proven guy for once. Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas, Griffin Canning, Tyler McGill. Enough is enough with the reclamation projects.
And make him available. They're in a rebuild. They're $500 million in debt. Ryan is a guy, one of those high spin fastballs, can pitch at the top of the zone and get swings and misses.
Now you want to tell me it's Ryan plus a Michael King? We're talking, but it wouldn't be. Let's be real.
Ben at number 2. A lot of scouts think he's got a lot more potential with analytics. Could be an even more dominant pitcher than he's been. Giving up too many home runs, but a lot of potential there. Could be a number 2. Suarez and and Ryan at the top of the rotation.
All right, so now, Britt, I want you to put your reporter shoes on for a second. That's an opinion there. I like it. Is it realistic, do you think, that the Pirates actually do consider moving on from Paul Skeens?
I think that they would listen to offers, and I think if they're blown away enough for an offer, then a guy like Ben Cherington, who's trying to save his job, I think
I'm guessing, just off the top of the dome, Noah McLean, Brandon Sproat, Jonah Tung, Jet Williams, Carson Benj, and more. Because everybody's going to be involved. And I don't want to trade my guy Jet Williams right now. He's going to be on the show on Saturday.
people in the industry thought that he would in fact lose his job, but the Pirates are so marred in mediocrity that he could look at this and say, hey, I may have a chance here to get this team good again and to get them good again quickly. Are they going to be good with Paul Skeens in his prime, or are they going to waste another year? You know? So I think it's actually a little more plausible than you would think on paper. You would think that's insane. Why would they do that? They would do that because that's what they do. They trade away guys. Garrett Cole. Think of all the guys who have come from Pittsburgh that were never traded away. Exactly, Danny. I blanked on them all. Danny's got the full list. So I don't think it's out of the realm when you look at where that front office is at and the fact that they kind of need to show some forward momentum. And as good as Skeens is, he's only pitching every 5 days. He cannot propel you to a playoff spot, but he can propel a team like the Mets.
I just don't know if the Mets have the super package to get a deal like that done. Other than Nolan McLean, I don't think there's a guy out there that the Pirates are going to say we have to have that guy. And you know, look, if he gets to get Skeens,
maybe an Ilion Pena, because he is going to fly through this system at 17 years old.
You'd give up McLean, no doubt about it. But I don't know if he's going to be available. I think other teams might be able to put a better package together the way the Red Sox did.
You would have to include major league assets. And when I say major league assets, you may be talking about guys like Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez heading back the other way. And I know a lot of you guys might not be opposed to that, and I might not be opposed to that, but that's kind of what you're looking at. It's probably McLean, Sproat, a guy like Francisco Alvarez and Brett Beatty, and maybe a couple other pieces.
Last year for Crochet.
It's a Spencer Jones kind of deal for
them. But listen, it's worth trying. If they, who knows with the Pirates? You never know what they're going to do. But they would run that owner out of town if he traded Skeens at this point.
They're going to keep him because they need money. They need butts and seats. They need people to show up to the games. People aren't going to show up to those games and watch the Pirates. But guess what? They show up for Paul. They line up around the block for Paul. Whatever Paul does, they buy into. So I feel like it would be in their disinterest to do something like that because they have nobody else. They have no one else in their franchise to build around except for Paul. I feel like they're going to squeeze every inch out of him and keep him there. And they're ruining baseball. The Dodgers aren't ruining baseball. They're ruining baseball.
This is Mike Trout 2.0.
Yes.
They do have 1 point in their favor. His girlfriend would love to be in
Livy Dunn?
Livy Dunn.
Well, and I would bet that, and I don't know this, I'm just saying, I would bet that the Mets would prefer to have Skeens than Skubal because of also the star power. Like, it's not just pound for pound who's the better pitcher, and it's not even about the contract under control. Those are obvious things. I would bet that there's an appeal to the Mets who are trying to get their brand to the level of the Dodgers and Yankees to bring in Paul Skeens and his superstar.
Besides McLean, it's really going to get that over the top.
No, you'd have to give up McLean plus others. All right, how about Ryan? Back to your point about him. I like the idea. Do you think he's that level to be enough to be the Mets' legit ace to turn this thing around?
He's not an ace, but he's a number 2. And Suarez, to me, is kind of a number 2 as well.
Why are we going after a number 2?
Right.
Well, because you can't get Skubal and you can't get Skeens. That's why. Okay. So I think you put those two guys. If you put Suarez and Skeens, now you got me thinking about it. Suarez and Ryan at the top of the rotation. You got a good rotation in addition to McLean and other guys you have coming back because you still have those young guys coming up. So Ryan has been a guy who's pitched with dominance a lot, but he also gives up home runs. That's why some scouts think you put him in the Mets have become more analytically driven. You give him better pitch shaping, better sequencing. Maybe he becomes a better pitcher. Maybe he does become a number 1.
Hey, either way.
He's only 29. He's not that old.
There are many different avenues. The Mets know that. They got to figure it out, but I do think they really need one legit bona fide number 1 and then probably another starter in addition to that.
And that's what we got from the folks over at SNY. A lot of good stuff over there. I do think that Harper's onto something with Ryan, but I will say this. David Stearns is the kind of guy that loves a pitcher like that, feels he can mold him, put him in the pitching lab. We all are sick and tired of the pitching lab. Believe me, I am just as much as you guys. But I do feel that that's probably the possibility. Are the Mets really going to go out there and give up their entire farm system for Paul Skeens? I got to wait to see it. Something Harper said on this program, I got to wait to see the Christian Yelich type trade that he will pull off with the Mets. And who knows, maybe it's a Tariq Skubal. But that's all I got for you guys today. Don't forget to smash that like button. Turn those notifications on so you never miss an upload. As always, let's go Mets. Leave a comment below. God bless.